Up south is the impending cyclone Hudhud that is likely to hit India's east coast on Sunday morning, and the areas that are likely to be affected are the Odisha coast and at least 5 districts of Andhra Pradesh. In fact, both state administrations have stepped up their efforts with help from the army and the NDRF, and the villagers are likely to be evacuated and moved to relief camps sometime on Saturday. Here is a ground report on what's happening in both Andhra Pradesh and Odisha.
The next 24 hours are crucial as the country's eastern coast braces for the fast approaching cyclone Hudhud, which is likely to intensify into a severe cyclonic storm. According to warnings issued by the Indian Meteorological Department, rainfall ranging from heavy to very heavy, that's more than 25 centimeters, is expected on Saturday in the affected areas. All accompanied by wind speeds up to 70 kilometers on Saturday and up to a whopping 150 kilometers on Sunday. Warnings of possible damages have also been issued, including that to kacha houses, power and telecom infrastructure, rail and road traffic, danger from flying debris and flooding of escape routes. Thousands of members of the National and State Disaster Responses Force and the fire services are being sent to coastal areas to prepare for search and rescue operations and assist with evacuations. Meanwhile, heavy rainfall has started in coastal areas of the state. A year ago, a severe cyclone named Impending had battered the same region.
The increasing crest and trough of the waves at Gopalpur indicate the signaling of arrival of Hudhud in this direction. Perhaps one of the indications that also signify that the sea will become rougher with every passing minute, and with also the waves that will be here at the sea beaches will compel people to evacuate the area. However, the Odisha government seems to be prepared. Still, there's a lot way to go and a lot more to do. With camera person Chitrabhanu Pathak, this is Manogya Loiwal in Gopalpur, Odisha for Headlines Today.
Joining me now live from Gopalpur in Odisha is my colleague Manogya. Also joining us is Ratnika Sharma on the phone line. Ratnika, you have been speaking to the special teams which have been sent to Visakhapatnam to oversee and supervise the entire cyclone preparedness of the Andhra Pradesh government. What is the sense that you're getting as far as Andhra Pradesh preparations are concerned? I think we cannot establish our contact with Ratnika Sharma. Manogya, you are right on the ground, a place that had seen a similar brush with the cyclone on the 12th of October last year. Now, what are the locals telling you? How prepared do they think is the state administration to take care of the cyclone Hudhud this time?
So there's a lot of lessons that have been learned by the Odisha government this time. We have been speaking to the officials and also the Chief Minister office, where they have confirmed that this time they have been taking much more preparations as compared to what they have been doing earlier. This year there are cyclone centers that have been put in place. These are permanent erected structures which have been in use, but this time it is much more advanced because the district collectors who have had past experience of failing last year are also being enrolled into action. And with this, we've also seen a lot of people who have been here, the locals who have been here and have been interacting with the people here. If I could ask my camera person to also ask, maybe we've been talking to a few people here who have been, आप बताइए कि क्या आपकी प्रॉब्लम है यहाँ पर, क्या-क्या किस तरह से इस बार सरकार पूरी प्रिपरेशन ले रही है?
सरकार ने अभी हमारा इधर लोकल एग्जीक्यूटिव ऑफिसर है, उन लोग ऑलरेडी प्रिपेयर कर लिया, जो पुअर पीपल्स है उन लोग के खाना रहना ये सब कुछ बंदोबस्त कर लिया।
आप तो यहाँ पे लोकल है, इस बार कितनी ज्यादा आपको लगता है तैयारी बहुत ज्यादा है पहले से?
जी जी,
किस तरह से?
इस तरफ से हम लोग बहुत डर लग रहा है यहाँ पे, क्योंकि लास्ट फाइल 99 में जो हुआ था वो भी बहुत डर लग रहा है। लास्ट ईयर जो फाइलन हुआ था लास्ट अक्टूबर 2013 10th
कितना डर लग रहा है? पहले से ज्यादा डर लग रहा है कि इस बार हवा?
पहले से ज्यादा डर लग रहा है क्योंकि हम लोग फेस किया, देखा है दो साइक्लोन, ये थर्ड साइक्लोन हम लोग देख रहा है ना, हम लोग बहुत डर लग रहा है, इतना डर लग रहा है हम लोग बोल ही नहीं सकता.
Well, absolutely. If you could, we've been talking to a lot of people here, especially the fishermen have been incurring a loss of almost 1 crore per day in Gopalpur only, and that's the reason why they're extremely worried. They have been concerned not only about their livelihood, but also the fact that the houses that they have on the sea beaches or along the coastline, that will also get damaged this time. And the biggest concern for the state government too is to evacuate these people at the earliest, which has been the toughest task for them till now.
Right. Manokya, we have Ratnika Sharma on the phone line with us. Ratnika, what is the kind of level of preparedness of the Andhra Pradesh government? I believe they have cancelled some trains and also issued a lot of satellite phones to the people who are in charge of supervising those relief operations in those 5 coastal districts.
Yes, Sudhir. In fact, as far as the preparedness is concerned, vulnerable and low-lying villages have been identified across 5 major districts, which are Visakhapatnam, Vizianagaram, East and West Godavari and Srikakulam. And according to the district administration, they expect to evacuate about 1 lakh people from 237 odd villages across the coast. However, evacuation can happen only tomorrow, depending on whether the landfall happens in the north or south of Vizag. Also, keeping in mind the severity of the cyclone, as you mentioned, about 28 trains have been cancelled over the next 2 days. And also, the AP Coastal Administration has been equipped with about 14 satellite phones to help with the rescue and relief operations.
Right, Ratnika Sharma and Manoj Gyalowal will continue to track this very important story on Cyclone Hudhud from both Andhra Pradesh and Odisha all through the weekend with you. Thanks a lot for joining us on Up South. Now, following Kannada actor Maitri Gowda's allegation against Union Railway Minister Sadanand Gowda's son Karthik Gowda and his subsequent disappearance, it has now come to light that some phones were actually allegedly tapped by the Bangalore police, and these were people related to the union minister, and this happened between a period of September 5 to September 11 as part of the investigation. The BJP in Karnataka has reacted very strongly to this. Meanwhile, Maitri Gowda has moved the family court to legalize her marriage with Karthik Gowda and stop him from marrying another woman.
I don't want to comment about that issue. It is related to the issue of my son. So right from the day one, I said that I will not react to this because it may hamper the investigation or other things. As a responsible person of the central cabinet, I should not behave in such a manner as if debating, discussing, putting pressure or doing something nonsense for investigation matters.
In fact, news just coming in, Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has said that the government has not tapped any of the phone lines. Joining me now is my colleague Pratibha Raman. Pretty serious charges there, Pratibha. How is the BJP planning to take this forward?
Well, in fact, Sudhir, the BJP wants to raise a political storm with this particular issue because today the spokesperson of the BJP, Mr. Suresh Kumar, did say that this kind of phone tapping issue has been an ongoing process, especially with the Congress government. So they've lashed out at the Congress government here, the ruling party, and it has happened right since the time of Ramakrishna Hegde government, where Siddaramaiah also happens to be a part of the cabinet then. And Suresh Kumar goes on to say that this kind of phone tapping issue. But before that, according to the Indian Telegraphic Act, you can tap the phone lines of a particular person if the police suspects that the person is involved in any kind of anti-national interest, and they do not even have to seek the permission of the Home Secretary there if it's a period of 7 days. But in this particular case, no national anti-social elements involved, anti-national interests involved, and as well as it does not even involve a heinous crime is what the BJP claims. And why would they go ahead with the phone tapping issue? And if they do, why would they go ahead without the Home Minister or the CM being in loop?
Right. Right, Pratibha, thanks a lot for joining us there from Bangalore. Now, news now from Tamil Nadu as AIDMK Workers, movie stars and even sports persons go all out to extend their support to former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Jayalalitha. There is a person in her own party who in fact contested a Lok Sabha election in 2009 on the AIDMK ticket, who was actually asked the former Chief Minister to step down from her post as the General Secretary of the AIDMK. K. Ramasubramaniam, whose photograph that you see along with Jayalalitha, has written an open letter to Jayalalitha asking her to quit from the party post. And he has said that she should quit on moral grounds, saying her conviction in the disproportionate assets case has tarnished the image of the party. Joining me now from Chennai is my colleague Shisha Reddy. Shisha, has this open letter, taken everyone by surprise in the AIDMK, and what is likely to be the party's reaction?
Well, exactly, Sudhir. On the social media case, Ramasubramanian has already been trolled by a lot of AIDMK supporters because this is the first time that somebody is taking on the General Secretary of the party. She has been continuing to be the party secretary for several years after MJ's demise, and this is the first time that somebody is sending an open letter asking her to step down on moral grounds. Even in the Tansi case, there was no such letter on that time, and now when the entire AIDMK supporters and the functionaries have been going on the protest mode, saying that these are the false cases that are foisted against the former Chief Minister of the state. This letter, which points out that her conviction has actually, and the conviction has actually put down a lot of people, and also the neutral people who have been supporting the party. So taking of course, there have been a lot of shocking news coming from the party itself, saying she should be expelled from the party.
Now, with Jayalalitha's conviction and her being debarred from contesting elections in Tamil Nadu, alter political equations dramatically in Tamil Nadu. Well, both the DMK and the BJP seem to think so and have started building castles in the air, even though elections are a good 2 years away.
The lotus is trying to bloom in the muddy political waters of Tamil Nadu. The BJP, that has doubled its vote share from 2.3% to 5.4% in the 2014 Lok Sabha elections, despite fielding candidates only in 9 constituencies, sees a window of opportunity in the midst of the two main Dravidian parties caught in a maze of corruption cases.
Tamil Nadu politics should be purified, and Tamil Nadu should have an alternate force apart from this Dravidian force, that is BJP. So I think it is their duty to definitely to support us, because they also like an alternate good force to come in Tamil Nadu. So that is Tamil Nadu BJP.
The DMK, which has the 2G noose around its neck to take care of, has been projecting a "your corruption is corruption, my corruption is not corruption" attitude ever since Jayalalitha was convicted. The party, which enjoys around 22% vote share in Tamil Nadu, scoffs at what it calls is BJP's daydreaming.
They have to go a long way to have a hold in Tamil Nadu. The Tamil Nadu politics is different. They have to go a long way. Even during the last parliament elections, they might have got some 17 or 18% of votes, but not all alone.
Observers point out that BJP cannot survive alone, and only an alignment with a party like DMK can work for it electorally.
Though it has its own whims and fancies and it wants to capitalize on the situation, the ground reality is totally different. The party doesn't have a structure to capitalize the growing vacuum in Tamil Nadu's politics.
In 1996, the Tamil superstar Rajinikanth had released an anti-Jayalalitha statement that contributed to her massive defeat. Now that the corruption during her chief ministership between 1991 and 1996 is under radar once again, the BJP has doubled its efforts to somehow drag Rajinikanth into its fold, saying it's his duty to support the BJP. But the question is whether the superstar will say yes or simply say mind it. With CS Sudhir, Srisha Reddy in Chennai for Headlines Today.
That's it then on Up South this Friday evening. Tune into Headlines Today for live and continuous coverage of cyclone Hudhud as it makes landfall on the Odisha and Andhra Pradesh coast on Sunday morning. Thanks for watching.